Hello everyone, I am Park Ranger Tom Jurassic, and welcome back to the Jurassic Park Podcast. With me today is the wonderful Brad Jost, who makes a guest appearance on this podcast now and then, and we are talking about the Jurassic World Chaos Theory Season 3 trailer. So Brad, as the guest, why don't you take us into it?
Dude, I like being a guest. Let me just say first off, it's always nice when I don't have to do anything and I can just make you do all the work.
Yeah, like you're not doing the screen share or anything. It's all me.
No, it's all you. Yeah. Actually, speaking of that, the other day I did a episode behind the scenes with Ted Brothers and Jay Jurassic, and they were on the screen on the live stream. But I was behind the scenes, like doing all the production end, and I was like, I like this. I want to do more of that.
Yeah.
That was fun. So yes, I like being the guest.
To be fair, not to derail us immediately, but Connor has said he would like to record as a trio at some point. So maybe we could like do a recordy bit, and then we do like a live Dino DNA where you go into the behind the scenes.
Hey, let me tell you, I definitely want to record with Connor, but I would be a waste of space on an episode of Dino DNA.
Dude, have you heard me on them? Have you heard me on them?
Well, you're good, man. You're good. I have no idea what I'm doing.
I'm just asking questions the entire time.
But yeah, man, you're right. We have an awesome trailer to dive into. Yes. Should I give my thoughts? How do you want to do this? You want to roll through those first?
I was going to say, do you know what? Give us an overview, and then I've got it up so I can take us through some of the interesting frames. So what are your thoughts overall?
So yeah, I think this has been like a interesting cycle, right? Trying to lead up to this season because we've gone through it. I think as fans of Chaos Theory, we heard that this would be the final season, and then it kind of got taken back a little bit, and there is still no mention of final season. It just says like the next season or whatever, all new season, I think. So, and watching the trailer, I'm like, oh, wow, a lot of this looks final season to me, but I think there's still room to grow. So like in my mind, it could be, but then I'm like, wow, there is actually room to grow. So I was really excited watching this trailer for a lot of different reasons. I think it's got it looks like it's ramping up the dinosaur action in fun ways again. We're getting everything that I always want from these shows like Camp Cretaceous and Chaos Theory. We're getting ties to the grander material, with the films, seeing the Pyroraptor, seeing Dodgson, seeing all these things like kind of lead into Dominion is really awesome. So I was thrilled. It looks completely epic, and I can't wait to see what happens, dude. It looks awesome. How about you?
Hell yeah, dude. I am really buzzed. I just think this is what I wanted, which is for ages I've been saying whenever we talk that I'd really love to see Chaos Theory do their rendition of the Dominion dinosaurs. So I'm really happy that we get a flavour for that here. I don't know whether we're going to see all of them, and I do question whether we'd even see animals like the Giganotosaurus and the Therizinosaurus in a fourth season. But we're certainly on course to be in around the same locations as those animals, so they could easily get woven into the story to some extent. And yeah, I just think there's a lot of stuff to break down. I mean, to look forward to. My mind is already on breakdown. I mean, I've literally, so just to kind of jump straight into it, I've got the opening screen open, and I love how from the very beginning of the trailer, it's symbolic of what the plot thread is throughout this season, which is the fact that Brooklyn is playing a game of chess with Soyana Santos. Quite literally, she is making the moves to see if she can take this criminal enterprise down. So I think that's quite interesting to see as kind of our opening.
I think I did like a little bit in a previous episode in the news about this shot that we got because we got the picture ahead of time. And I was like, this is literally just a metaphor for what's going on in Brooklyn's head.
Yeah.
She's playing chess. She's literally trying to move the correct pieces in order to take down whoever, whatever's going on. She's trying to play this correctly. So I like that metaphor there. That's cool.
It's cool. And then so we kind of cut from the plane to another plane, which is a heavy duty cargo plane.
Knows a
So
hell of a
this
lot before
looks
she
like
is.
it's a military Hercules. But I mean, visually, it's very
That
similar to
bodes
the kind
well.
of large transport planes that you see Biosyn using in the Jurassic World Dominion film.
We're near the
So I do think that this is potentially connecting to that Biosyn story further. We know that obviously there were flights that were taking these animals to the Dolomites, so I wouldn't be surprised if this is kind of one of those transit flights. And what I like here is it's not just any old transit flight, it's a Kentrosaurus, but specifically, I think it's going to be Pierce, because we have one of the screenshots where you have Sammy and Yaz kind of just sat with him. So that is quite cool already, that we're getting layers
That
of
bodes well.
the Camp Cretaceous story being really brought back into this as well. What are your thoughts on having Pierce back in the story?
Dude, so I was wondering that as well. And I couldn't come up with a name, and I forgot. Oh yeah, I got to look up what the name of it was because I couldn't remember. And I was like googling it as you said it. I was like Pierce. Oh, duh, of course, obviously, it's like the most obvious name. Yeah, I think that would be really cool. I wonder, like, it didn't have any unique identifiers, I don't think, like Bumpy does. Did it? Outside of just like it had spikes and it looked, a certain color or whatever. So it would be interesting if the kids were like, "Do you think that's Pierce?" Or if they actually know if it's Pierce or not. Like, so we'll see. But or if it
Yeah.
just makes them reflect on their memories of Pierce or something like that. That would be pretty cool. But I saw that and I was like, "Ooh, this could be a tie to Camp Cretaceous. Pretty cool."
It's I think it just sets the pace quite nicely, right? Of this idea that actually the animals from Manticore Island have ended up at Biosyn, which ironically enough, I'll give you this little detail. That's something that I've written into the final season of Tales, is the idea that Biosyn took the animals from the Manticorp investigation. So seeing that correlation here is just a really cool little detail that I
Mm.
personally really appreciate. So moving forward a little bit, we get to see that Ben has got the girlfriend in Italy. As some people had speculated, she is not a fictional online presence. She is a real human being, which is quite cool to see. And both her and her mother are played by guest stars. So she is played by Beatrice Grano, who you were saying is in White Lotus. And then the Nonna is played by Isabella Rossellini, who is Oscar nominated. So they're making a big deal about that guest cameo. I mean, guest stars aren't particularly new for Chaos Theory. Obviously, we had the daughter and mother in Senegal, and I've forgotten their names already. Zaina, wasn't it? So
Yeah.
we're going to be getting the same again here, which is quite cool. Do you have any thoughts on them as characters?
Not too much yet. I'm excited to see what they bring to the show. I can't believe, she's real. She's real. Everybody's in
Yeah.
shock. So that's pretty cool. And I like that people actually already had this theory and it paid off for them. I wasn't even going that
Yeah.
direction at all. Like I was wondering like, where are they? What is this snowy location that they're in? Didn't even cross my mind that they would be making their way towards Italy, where Biosyn Valley just so happens to also be located as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool that they're moving in that direction. That she just so happens to be up there, and I wonder. We do see the mother, grandmother, whatever she is, in an interesting situation
Yeah.
later on in the trailer. So we do know that the handler is going to be tracking them down in this way somehow.
Yes. Yeah, but I mean, before we even get to the handler, we get to another quite significant character, which is the return of Lewis Dodgson.
Whoa.
Oh
So
my
I don't
They
gosh.
think it's
really
a
worked in
particular
Biosyn.
surprise here. I
Saved
think
one
it's naturally been
again.
going in this direction,
What does
right? But we do have Dodgson back. It's kind of cool seeing the vials there in that screenshot that you had up a second ago that are from the
Mm,
original Barbasol can. I just think that's quite a cool
yeah.
little visual nod. But I mean, Dodgson, it makes sense. It would have been a shame if they hadn't brought him back in. So I'm really glad that they've brought him back back in. I'm curious to see whether it's going to be Campbell Scott that plays him, or I think it
It's
was,
not.
wasn't it a different voice actor? Yeah, I was going to
It's
say,
it's Adam Harrington as Dodgson.
yes. There we go. Thank you for that. So yeah, so I'm assuming that's the same person from Camp Cretaceous. So cool to see that they are building this character back into the universe. And equally, we might get a little bit more context into him and Soyana's relationship, either before the events in Malta, so finding out what that incident was, or equally it does look almost as if this might be filling in some of the gaps in the immediate afterwards of the Malta incident. So potentially, whilst Grant and Sattler are going and discovering hexapod allies, it does look like we could potentially be getting some of what else is going on there for Dodgson, which is quite interesting. I guess you're hyped to have him back as well, Brad?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And I haven't I've thought about it previously about the crossover being like so directly tied to those moments that we get in Dominion. But
Yeah.
watching the trailer didn't necessarily cross my mind that like we could actually be looking at moments that are happening at the same time, which would be really cool.
Yes.
Because I did a little breakdown on my own and I was like, dude, how is Malta tired of this like happening like constantly? Like they must be tired of this happening. But if it's happening like back to back, I guess that makes a little bit more sense. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, to having Dodgson back, tying everything together, I love it. I'm so excited to see,
Mm.
what are these vials? What do they all pertain to? Like, um, man, it's very cool to me. I just want to watch this so I
Yeah.
know whether it does cross over with those moments because that's my like number one hope is just getting those
Mm.
direct ties to Malta and to Bios and Valley. So I am
I
keeping my
think
fingers crossed that they are so directly tied as you're saying. So
yeah. I think it's really interesting because obviously with Fallen Kingdom, we had the direct crossover in Camp Cretaceous, and that was something I really wanted because I was like, "This is we already know what happens here, so it makes sense to have it tie into the events." I think with Chaos Theory, I wasn't as keen on getting a direct crossover, just because I was like, "Well, we've already seen this corner of the world. Maybe it could show us somewhere else." But actually, seeing the black market on screen, as you've perfectly frozen it there, is really really cool to see. And I think actually it everything I'm seeing makes me think that this is happening concurrently, just because of the fact that there is chaos unfolding at the black market later in the trailer. I mean, if you bring us a little bit forward, there's a moment. So we'll come back and talk about the moment with Bumpy's egg in a second. But I do just want to draw attention to the Ceratosaurus. Exactly there, Brad. Um, that again, that looks like that's happening once all the chaos has unfolded and the fire in the market has started, and the Allosaurus and the Carnotaurus have got free. So it would be cool to see other animals kind of reacting to that meltdown in the black market, and maybe we'll even get like a cameo of Claire and Owen in the background or something, which could be quite cool. So I'm curious to see how they play it, and I'm curious to see when the characters factor in. But this does really make me think like we might get to see where Soyana goes after her encounter with Barry.
yeah, that's true. I was gonna say like this could be the end of Soyanos Santos, but like she actually doesn't end there. Like she just kind of seemingly disappears, right? In Dominion, she just kind of like walks away, right? I don't feel like we ever get a
Exactly.
conclusion on her characters. So to get like a post that moment would be really cool too. So man,
Yeah.
I'm hoping. I'm hoping. Did we ever see a Ceratosaurus in Dominion at all? I
I
don't think so,
don't
right? There
know.
was not
Let me bear with me 1 second, and I'll
because
just bring
there
up the Malta Black Market.
there is like a scene somewhere in here with that's a big locust. Oh, here we go. This is the baryonyx here, and I'm assuming this is
Yes,
also Malta. But interestingly, I'm assuming it's Malta, but we do have a bunch of locusts flying around.
locusts. Yeah.
So I don't know. The locusts didn't seem to be there at that point in time. So,
So
so I don't really
there
know.
are there's in the black market there are locusts that have been cooked. because they're on the
That's true. That's true.
like skewers, so it's
Yeah,
not
you're right.
beyond the pale that they would have been somewhere else. You can actually, I'm literally looking at a screenshot right now, and around where, ironically enough, the Stiggy is stored. So I forget that we do see the Stiggy in the market in the film as well. There is
Mhm.
then a locust in a cage next to it. So it's
Okay.
conceivable that there were more of them. I'm just skimming through that scene with Kayla. So obviously in the extended edition we have the Oviraptor, which, man, is it a shame that that gets killed by Leonard, because that would have been so cool to see on screen in this as well. But as we go further through, I don't think we see the Ceratosaur, but I have a feeling that there's more
Yeah, I
than
don't think
one
so.
cage next to where the Allosaurus is. But yeah, I mean, there's a scene where Claire's looking at the cages, and there's at least two locusts in them. So there are locusts in the black market. I think, to just bring it back away from that for a second, because although that is the most exciting part of the story, we do also have the continuation of Bumpy's egg as the kind of B story. And as you see exactly there, perfect. You're nailing this today, Brad. I am loving that you're getting all the frames I want to talk
It's hard
about.
to do on the
Um,
iPad, but I get there.
so this one again, we can see that Bumpy's egg has hatched. So presumably we're going to get another new character. I think, without spoiling anything, there has been some discussion around a potential new character online in certain places in the past. And it's fair to say that Bumpy has got her own character tropes, so I'm sure that her offspring will have equally interesting character tropes.
Mm, interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm hyped. It's kind of played like a scary situation here, like, oh no, the egg
yeah.
cracked. But the dinosaur's probably just hidden right under the pillows right there. It's gonna be
Yeah,
super cute. I can't wait. I can't wait. That's really exciting to see that the story's continuing. I was afraid like
yeah.
it would just get pushed to the side a little bit, and but they've continued this journey. They brought the egg with them. They're now in Italy with this egg. Who knows what happens with this baby dinosaur from here, but I'm sure it'll
I
get
do. I
reunited
have
at some
to. I
point.
have to confess something as well. Whenever I see the pattern on the egg, I think of Cadbury mini eggs. I don't know if you have
Oh,
them in the US, but they're like little. So Cadbury
mhm.
do like little chocolate eggs that have got like a sugar coating on the outside of them
Yeah,
for Easter. And
it
okay, so
definitely
you do
definitely
have.
looks like that.
So I just explained them for nothing. Yeah, it makes me think of
You're right. It does. It does as
yeah.
well. Yes, absolutely.
So coming forward, we have our shot of the locust getting out in the Arctic environment. I think, I mean, I could see it being one of two things. So we know that they're in Italy, and when we see, I mean, it's got to be Italy because we see snow on the ground when they go into his girlfriend. So presumably this is near Biosyn Valley, which would make sense. And there's likely to be locusts out in the wild anyway. So they're just seeing a locust in the wild, which makes a lot of sense. We then also get another clip of the Ceratosaurus getting out at the market. Interestingly, in this clip, it's Darius, I think, who's running across there, yeah. But there's nobody else around the market, so this could easily be after they've abandoned it with the Ceratosaurus and the Allosaurus breaking out. And I kind of feel like that would be quite cool because it would almost be a callback to Camp Cretaceous in a way, where you see a familiar location after it's been abandoned. So obviously in Camp Cretaceous it's Jurassic World. So here it might be cool to see this location after the chaos has unfolded to get a little bit of the aftermath.
Yeah, I'm just kind of playing through it in my head because um, I'm thinking about the Atrociraptors. We have
Yeah,
four that are all together, right, in Malta. Um,
yeah,
but we still haven't got that connection yet, so that still hasn't happened yet. So
no,
this
yeah,
is, I can say it's later in the season, this sequence here. But
yeah,
it's so we have like the middle portion of the season, the beginning to the middle, where we can have the handler interact with the people in Italy somewhere, and for to go from Italy, yeah, I guess it would be fine to go from Italy and then fly some reason to Malta,
yeah.
or I don't, yeah, there's a whole lot of connections that I'm trying to figure out there. So I don't know. And my mind's all over the place. Why do you think they go to the girlfriend's house? Like, is there some reason that that girlfriend can help them? Because I would assume that they were just trying to track down Brooklyn. Um,
Yeah. I mean,
so why would
so
they go out of their way? I don't know. So in my
my
mind, well, hold on. My mind, I got to think through this all. I'm assuming they go from like Italy, but then to Malta and then back to Italy because I want them to go to Biosin Valley. That just seems like a lot of like traversal.
so what? Yeah, with the way it's presented, I think we go from Malta to Italy. So you get Brooklyn walking through the like archway in Malta saying she's a different person. So I think her and Soyana have gone immediately to Malta. Um we do actually, interesting note, this is very similar to the private jet they're in, is very similar to the private jet that then takes Maisie to Biosyn. So food for thought there. But what I think happens
Mm.
is that they go to Malta, the kids go there to try and find them. They have an encounter with Brooklyn. She says she doesn't want anything to do with them. And then she goes to Biosyn Valley. So I then think the kids make their way to Italy as well to follow her. And that's where Ben is like, oh, I've got a girlfriend who lives locally. Maybe she could help us to find out more about this place before we go there, and she's like acting as sort of their base of operations to recharge before they go to Biosyn Valley.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up the information that I had, and I can't seem to find it at the moment. But remember, I had exactly what episode each one of those images took place in.
Yeah.
Um, so I was
Let
trying to
me
track that down. I can't seem to find it at the moment, but we
let me
talk too
take
much,
a
so
look.
it's hard to find it.
Yeah. Uh,
But whatever happens, I do hope that we are on the right path here. But it sounds like a lot of work to do whatever they need to do. I just want it to kind of hit all those touchstones, so we are tying to the movies. But if this is the only ties we get is just visiting similar locations, I mean, I guess that's fine. Um, but I guess they kind of really got us all very, very hyped up by doing what they did. I think it was
mm,
season 3, right, in Camp Cretaceous, by like being so directly tied to Fallen Kingdom
yes.
and those events. So we got a little spoiled, I think, with that. So I kind of want that exact
Oh,
same
dude.
scenario.
I made the mistake of opening a social media platform, and Kia has noticed a very cool detail. So shout out to Dino Kia. We'll keep talking through, but the shot of the Atrociraptors closing in the foreframe, there is the Pyroraptor. So we're gonna
Yeah.
get Pyroraptor versus the Atrocities, which is awesome. But let's not fast forward to it yet, Brad. Let's go back
Where
to
is it?
that.
Oh, okay. I thought you wanted to show it.
It's
Never mind.
right at the end.
Oh, okay.
No. So that car, we get the car in the snow. We then get a little shot of Ben doing some exercise, which is fine. It's just the usual comedy. We get the snowmobile with Kenji, and we know from this sequence, and we do see it at the end of the trailer, but we know that the kids, it's in the key art, they encounter the Pyroraptor in the snow environment. So my
Mm.
immediate thought, I mean, in that screenshot of Kenji, actually, to be fair, sorry, I'm just making you go
Dude,
all
I'm
over
all over
the
it's
place.
so hard to get it to spot in the right spot.
That screenshot there, we see a mountain in the backdrop. So I bet that might be Biosyn Valley, because we know that there were mountains around the valley in the actual Dolomites. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised if this is Biosyn Valley, which would explain why the Pyroraptor is so close by. So
And the Pyroraptor's interesting too in Dominion
yeah,
because it's seemingly in like a very random location. It doesn't seem to be in
it
the
doesn't
valley.
seem to
It's
be
like
contained, does it?
no, it's just like up in the mountains, like kind of doing its
Yeah,
own thing. Which would be really cool if they were explaining how that came to be or
yeah,
whatever the case is. If it literally just went astray and followed them into the snow and then just
yeah.
ended up there. But like, oh, dude, I'm thinking about the Mizrani helicopter moment and seeing
Dude,
that
like it's
all
trying to
play out.
follow the kids. It's trying to
If
follow the kids into the valley. They escape and
yeah,
get into the elevator, and whilst they're in the elevator, they hear a crash above them.
or like how the kids are watching the helicopter crash. I could see that
Yeah,
exact thing happening here. Like they're just up on this hill, they just like escaped it. They kind of lost track of the Pyroraptor, or the Pyroraptor got
Yeah,
distracted by the plane crash. Like, and the plane crashed and they see it off in the distance. Like,
that
all
would be
that
so
could be
cool.
excellent stuff to watch play
Yeah.
out. So,
I
but
have to
yeah,
take the cap off because it is literally crushing my brain. Um, I just have a really fat head, unfortunately.
oh
Um, but yeah, so then after this, we get that shot of the three Atrociraptors, the Pyroraptor. As you say, Nonna is in the middle of them. And interestingly, it's still only three at this point. So
yeah.
this is suggesting that this is the handler hunting them down, and for some reason the Pyroraptor is there as well. So I have no idea how this is unfolding, but it looks really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder what's gonna happen here. Is she gonna get taken
Mm.
hostage? Is she gonna be used as bait for something? Like, is she sacrificing herself? Because, like, look, this
Yeah,
show has not put it past like killing off a parent. So
yeah, that is
I
very true.
yeah, I definitely think it could still be an option here. Who knows? And we might be like seeing something play out that could be, a little dire. So, but I just love this situation though of the Pyroraptor there. When I first watched it, I didn't catch it, but when I went back and like did this, I was like, is that the Pyroraptor right there? Like, what is it doing right there in front
Mm.
of the camera? That's awesome. And it just shows that like the Pyroraptor is not in the mountainous region near Biosyn Valley, but it'll get there.
It's somewhere
So
else as well, yeah. Or that there's more than one of them, which would be really cool to see.
there's never more than one of these dinosaurs. It's always
Dude,
just the
I would,
same one.
I would love a pack of Pyroraptors. I would genuinely love that. So
Yeah.
the frame after this, we get Brooklyn filming herself using Soyana Santos's laser to target somebody. Now, there's a bait and switch here because the next frame shows us Darius and Yasmina, but they're clearly in a different location. But I think this is her either getting evidence or she's on a call to Soyana and she has to show herself doing it.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it could be certainly one of those moments where she's just like, Ben, like, I got to show you something. Look at this. But he would already know,
Yeah.
I guess, at that point. So that wouldn't really be anything too groundbreaking, I guess.
No.
But yeah, if you're right about the evidence portion of it, if she's trying to gather, intel and, have show somebody at the end of the series, like that could definitely be what's happening here.
Yeah, I think it would make a lot of sense. Now, something we do have to talk about before we get to our closing credits is the minion parallels here. So I noticed one of them immediately, and I've just noticed another one, which is quite funny. So we are getting another two-wheeled vehicle chase in the streets of Malta, it appears,
Hmm.
with dinosaurs, which is just quite comical. I think I just find it amusing. Like poor Malta, they've had enough at this point, and they're getting this other chase scene going on. It could be a misdirect. It could be Italy, but the fact that it's the Stygimoloch in front of them, and we see the Stygimolochs in the fight arena, suggests that this is again other animals that got out of the arena. So perhaps this is how Malta gets cleaned up. Perhaps the kids are part of helping to deal with the immediate fallout of the black market bust out. I don't know. What do you think of that? Do you think that could be a cool way of explaining it?
I love that, actually. I think that's awesome to have, and that's what they're so good at. Like, they are so good
Mm,
at controlling the situation and getting dinosaurs to where they need to be. That's what they showed off so well in Camp Cretaceous so many times, like trying to get dinosaurs to where they need to be or whatever. So I think having that be the same thing here would be really cool. They're using the flares. That's
yeah,
an obvious tool to show like, follow me, dinosaur. Hey, come
yeah,
this way. So they're definitely trying to get the attention. I love that it's a completely different version of what we got in Dominion. Like, Dominion's like
yeah.
fast paced motorcycle with Atrociraptors chasing, Owen to death. He's going to bite him. But this is just more like a
This is
lumbering
Vespers.
Stiggy with Vespas. Yeah. So it's so different, but I can't wait to see how it plays out.
I think it's going to be really cool. I There's one other parallel, which is towards the end. So 1 minute 23, Brad. There we go. I've given you the exact time code. Look at that. I've just realised they could have done this all along, and it would have made your life so much easier. The other, well, we'll talk about that in a second. But the other bit at 1 minute 23,
I can only get to 1 minute 23 in one time.
there
you go.
There. Yeah. So yes. So the
That's the best we're
Pyroraptor
getting, by the way.
burst through a lake again. So we're getting another parallel
Not
with the
again.
Pyroraptor bursting through the lake, which is just quite funny to me. I have a feeling that Chaos Theory isn't going to be putting characters in freezing water that should kill them, though. So I think we're going to get a little bit more of a realistic encounter here. But as you did just also highlight at that 1 minute 23 mark, there is an interesting blink and you'll miss it moment of a god.
Let me say about this Pyroraptor. There wasn't there like an avalanche looking sequence or something that they were kind of running away. So it doesn't have to be a lake per se. It could just be that they were running away from a bunch of snow. And the snow, it just burst through the snow. So I think that.
I mean, to be fair, when you look at it, let me just play.
It does look like it's bursting through the snow. So
yeah, you're spot on there. But also, there is a scene with what appears to be either the Pteranodon or the Dimorphodon from the black market breaking free and flying underneath the Biosyn Eurocopter. And this is very, very specific because this is a custom-made helicopter. And as far as we know, there's only one of them. So this is literally the helicopter from Dominion, which makes me think, is it being presented as Dodgson's personal helicopter that he's using? Or is there a possibility that we might see Kayla factor in to some extent? The only thing I think of there is if it was Kayla, it would have to be after Dominion, and they've said that we're not going to move past Dominion in the timeline. So that makes me think it's more likely to be Dodgson. But it's interesting seeing the helicopter here. And one of the little detail I really like on it is the fact that even here you do have the turbines on either side turning as well, because that's just a really cool detail that they added with this helicopter. There is no real world helicopter that has that. So it's just a really cool thing.
Yeah, I think this looks really cool. I'm assuming it's Malta, but it does look like it could be something else too. But yeah, why
this one screenshot? This made me so glad I tracked down the toy.
Oh yeah, I have it somewhere. I don't know where. Oh, it's over there, just hanging out. Yeah, it's an awesome toy, but it does make me wonder if this is Malta. Like this is something that makes me reconsider all this happening all at the same time, because like Dominion is so fast paced and everything's happening so consecutively in that movie that like there's not really time for a helicopter stop at Malta. So so I don't really know what's going on here, unless it's like, but you just said it wouldn't be post Dominion, but that would be really cool if they like left Dominion and went here for some reason.
Have deliberately changed it. Remind me to tell you something. Can you just remind me after we're done recording to mention promotions to you? Just remind me that with that, okay? Just something very random that I want to tell you.
Okay. One quick theory. I know we want to wrap up, but maybe this is like Dodgson. I need help. I need extraction. Can you get me out of here? And all the same stuff is happening, with Dominion, except this helicopter had already dropped off Grant and Ellie a while ago. And now it's being sent backwards, to go get Santos off of Malta to extract her out of there. That could be something,
it's conceivable that they've got more than one of that type of helicopter.
That's true.
Like, realistically, they could have built a fleet of them.
And I'm just thinking timeline-wise,
Dominion-coded aesthetic. Yeah.
It's like kind of like the dinosaurs. We have to assume there's just one of these things,
Yeah. So we do, interestingly, get shots of Brooklyn in what appears to be the undermarket of the Malta Black Market, so like the tunnels. And she stood with somebody. And I find I don't know who this is, which is quite interesting. So we've got another new character here. It doesn't look like any of the campers. So my my immediate initial thought was, is
It's
this
just like
Rain
so dark.
Delacour? But it's definitely not Rain Delacour. um, but it's just interesting that there's another new character thrown into the fold here. So I'm curious to see who that ends up being. I tell you what would be quite cool is if it ends up being like a dangerous species division agent. Because we
That's what I was
know
just
that
gonna
the
say. Yeah.
DSD, yeah, the DSD are in Malta at this point. So what if during the roundup, Brooklyn sees them in the aftermath and is like, "Oh, I've got evidence of all of this stuff that's going on." That might explain how she then gets away from Soyana, but we'll have to wait and see. But it's not only Soyana she has to get away from, Brad, because at the
Well,
very end,
let me
jump
cut in
in,
because
jump in. Yeah,
you're
yeah,
mentioning the whole like the agents and stuff like that, and it just makes me think
yeah,
like, yes, we see that play out in Dominion with Barry
yeah.
and Owen and Claire. They're all there on like a
We
mission.
know they're
Barry's on his
there.
own
Yeah,
mission. Um and in my mind watching this trailer, like Brooklyn's the reason, like that they're there. Like
yeah,
she's the one who maybe got into contact with somebody who said, "You need to get here now, ASAP. We've got a mission going down." And so she's the one who really makes this all play out. And I think you could be right that this could be one of the like one of Barry's friends or something. Another agent that's going to
yeah.
report back to Barry, and that could be pretty cool. I would absolutely love that. We're probably tying this in way more than it will be, but
This is going to be exactly what Scott said when we interviewed him, where he'll listen to this and be like, "Oh, I wish I did
I
that."
should have done that.
Yeah.
Sorry, Scott.
Like, can you
Yeah,
imagine a Barry cameo?
dude, I've been hoping. I mean, I've been hoping for Barry cameo and for Kayla Watts cameo, but I'll take
That would
Barry
be
this
so
season.
cool.
Let's get Barry this season. That would
Yeah.
be fantastic.
But then we do have a returning cameo, Brad, which is our very last shot, which is our favourite person, the Jurassic World Chaos Theory logo.
That's what I was
Which
wondering. What are you getting at?
is
The
our
logo?
favourite person, Microbangs.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can't seem to find it.
Yeah.
It won't. Where is it?
It's
Oh, there she is.
129.
There she is.
Yeah.
Micro bangs. The
Oh, dude,
handler.
the lighting you got on that screenshot is spot
Yeah,
on.
it's
10
great.
out
Yeah.
of 10. But
This
yeah,
show
so
has always
she's
been
back.
excellent with the lighting. It's always been
It
really
has
spot
been
on with
really
that.
good. She's back. She's in the tunnels as well. And are we going to find out her relationship with Soyana Santos? We have to. So I'm really curious to see how that plays out, just because she looks very angry at this point. So I'm hitting you with speculation here, right? What if Brooklyn is with the DSD? She's let them know what's going on in Malta, and Microbangs has lost her Atrociraptors because of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she has to lose them at some point, right? So I
Yeah,
assume like they meet up here on Malta and like maybe she's reluctant to give them up. And I could honestly see like Sayona Santos like killing her off, like
yeah,
having the handler killed off because she won't give up the Atrociraptors, and then that's why she has them all, later on in this moment in Dominion. Um, I think something bad's going to happen here because we don't see the handler in the future. We see Dodgson, we see Sayona Santos. So I think something bad could happen here if she doesn't just get locked up or something. Sure, but I think she'll probably get offed here in season 3.
yeah. I think she will. I think she'll either get offed or she'll get captured. One of the two.
Yeah,
And
but I
given
love it. I'm
Chaos
so glad
Theory
she's
doesn't
back.
seem to shy away from death, I think it's likely she dies.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty brutal and pretty epic, and like give you context to what's going on underneath the
Dude,
city even further. That'd be so cool.
Soyana kills her.
That's what I mean. Yeah, 100%.
Yes,
Like Soyana's,
that would be so
Soyana's the one
good.
to do it. Yeah, whether
Yeah.
it's like
Oh my god, that
she
would
has
work
like
so well.
she has like she has Ghost, right? Or no, who does she have? She has
Yeah.
Tiger. Which one?
She
I don't
has Red.
know. Red. Okay,
Red.
whichever one.
The third one you
Um,
didn't mention.
the other one, yeah. I would imagine like she could use that, or she could just like shoot her or something. But that's not
Yeah.
really the MO for the show, so I don't really know if that would happen. But I can definitely see Soyana Santos being the person to make it happen.
Yeah, I think so. I think that would be really cool. I am, man, I'm getting so excited for this season. I just feel like there's so much
Heck yeah.
potential for it to really tie a lot of stuff together. And I think the big thing for me is they're doing what we wanted. So we've been asking for more biosyn, we've been asking for more connections to Dominion, and they're doing it. And it really feels like this season, hats off to the writers. So hats off to Scott, hats off to Bethany. I'm so glad you went back to full screen as my face was doing that expression. Great. Fantastic. Really lovely. Yeah, hats off to all of the writers, really, because I think it's so clear that their fingers have really been on the pulse when it's come to what the community's been hoping for with this show. And it looks like we're definitely getting a lot of that, which, again, it kind of makes the timing of Rebirth feels so strange to me. Like we could have just lived in this moment for a little bit longer, got Rebirth in a couple of years' time, maybe 26, 27, and just enjoy the time where these dinosaurs are in the wild. Because there is that part of me that's like, oh, I'm really excited for this story. And then the other part of me that's like, oh, well, they're all dead anyway, so it doesn't matter. So that's the only
Yeah.
thing I would say.
Interesting conundrum for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the rebirth thing is frustrating to a certain extent. I sympathize with that because I wish they kind of gave us some more time too. And I think more
Yeah.
time to develop, this story tying into the films or becoming films, something like that. I think there, and as we just discussed here today, if none of those things we discussed tie in,
Yeah.
it shows that it's possible. Like that
Yeah.
we could sit here in 25 minutes, 30 minutes and just play out the entire thing and connect all the dots. So the possibilities are there. We just want those things to happen, and to have Rebirth come in and just boom, wipe it all clean definitely kind of hurts a little bit. So
Yeah.
we got to see, man. I'm excited to see that movie for sure.
Yeah.
It looks amazing. But this also looks amazing, and it ties to everything that we love as well. So I'm very excited for both.
Do you know what? Strangely, I'm excited to see them build on the locusts as well.
Yeah, man. Look, if they give any more reason for people to be like accepting of it and into the
Mm.
idea, I think that would be fantastic. So, use the show as a tool to make the world better. I think, to make the Jurassic World,
Yeah.
not the world. It's not going to make the
I,
world
I,
better,
I
but
was like, I
it's a
don't
tough,
quite
tough
know how the
task.
locusts are making the world better, but then when you added the context, yeah. But what
The
we're saying
Jurassic
is
World.
use the show to do the world building better.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait to see more of it, and hopefully we'll be seeing it soon. And what I would say to anyone watching this is, you guys know the deal at this point. I think we both work really hard around the release of the show to put a lot of content out. So hopefully we'll be doing all of that again this time around, which is gonna be stressful, I think, because the release isn't particularly well timed for me and work commitments this time around.
Yep. Same here. So it'll be interesting. We'll see how this plays out, and we only have a few weeks here, so we gotta get moving
Yeah.
somehow. So yeah. So this is step one. We're getting there. I'm excited. You're excited. We've got a lot to talk about. It seems like in season 3,
Oh yeah.
and hopefully there's season 4, and hopefully we have more to discuss in the future. I'm excited, dude.
And hopefully we get more toys from Mattel as well. I know that they are full steam ahead on Rebirth, but I do genuinely, I'm going to put this out into the universe right now. Mattel, you need to give us Brooklyn, you need to give us Sammy,
Oh my
and you
God,
need to
please.
give us a new version of Soyana Santos. Just do that and we will be happy. Even if it's a Creations exclusive, like, we will be happy.
Yeah, I'd like that. An alternate version of Sayana Santos would be really cool. I think that would be
Yeah.
awesome. Maybe we'll get the because they tend to do like there was like a little scooter. Maybe we'll get
Yeah.
the what is this called, snowmobile? Or the Vespa
Yeah.
or something this time around.
With Soyana Santos. Oh my god.
Microbanks.
We're gonna
Let's get the
get the alternate Raptor Squad scene. You get Owen with his really nice motorbike and all of the Raptors, and then you're gonna get Soyana Santos on a Vespa with the
This is gonna be the Boba Fett version of a bike chase. Hopefully it's better than that. I don't know if you remember that, but it was like slow as dirt, had no speed whatsoever. It was terrible.
And yet it still manages to crash at the end.
Well, Tom, I'm sure you've got stuff. Let me take over hosting for a second. What do you have? Do you have anything to promote real quick while you're heading out?
The one thing I would say actually is huge shout out to Brooks. So Brooks Leiby is the composer on Tales from a Jurassic World. And he recently, so with Tales from a Jurassic World, there's been a lot of discussions behind the scenes about whether we could ever like raise money through the project or anything. And I've always said no with that, just because I don't want to upset Universal. I'm very respectful of the fact that ultimately we're playing in a sandbox that isn't our own. So Brooks decided to self-fund getting a orchestra to perform some music for the show. So I know it's something that he's always wanted to do himself anyway. And he just decided that Tales was the project that he wanted to do that with. So it's been quite surreal seeing people actually playing his music for the show. So season 3 is going to have actual live performed openings and closes, I think, which is quite exciting. So I just want to shout him out, because that, like, there was no expectation for that or anything, and he just did that and really wanted to take it out there. So it's been cool seeing all of that.
Seeing his post with the score book and everything, I was like, whoa, this is legit now. Like, what's happened here?
Dude, I saw it and I was like, this is amazing. But also, I really hope nobody sees this and thinks, are they trying to make an official project?
You got a lot of hype behind you now, so it's legit. And I think it's
it
the
won't
project...
deliver. Brooks's music will deliver, but my writing won't.
No, dude, look, the project is great as, a kind of like a stepping stone for your work, your editing, your writing, people doing voice acting and stuff like that, and Brooks composing the music and stuff. So it's been a really cool like, way to show off your skills. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's been a lot of fun. And I will just say on this conversation as well, so I mean, I'll put it out into the world. I'm aiming for a May release. Whether we get there or not, we'll see, because I've been a little bit more delayed than I would have liked on some things. But if we can make a May release work, then we'll release it just before Rebirth. And it's quite apt to have this conversation about Chaos Theory, because the final 2 episodes of Tales Season 3 run concurrent with the 3rd act of Jurassic World Dominion. Actually kind of concurrently with a bit of the first act as well, really. Basically, I was about to say a massive spoiler, so I won't say that. But basically, the scenes that happen in a certain place.
Very descriptive. I love the scenes that happen in a certain place. It's always my favorite part of any movie. It really is. So any final plugs before we head out? Is that it? You good?
That is everything. Just
you're at Tom Jurassic.
You're promoted
underscores somewhere in there, and
you don't want to find me. It's fine. It's all good. Just
Well, his links will be in the show notes. Go check them out.